You know, in the world of tech, a single year can feel like an entire decade. In 2025, it was absolutely no exception. It was the year that a lot of science fiction started to feel, well, like our daily reality. But what's coming in 2026? It could make this past year look like the Stone Age. So let's break down what just happened and what's right around the corner.
If there's one theme that just completely dominated 2025, it's this, right here. For years, we've heard all this hype, these grand, almost mystical promises about AI. Well, 2025 was the year it finally came back down to earth. It stopped being this far-off oracle and started being an actual product, a real, tangible tool that, showed up to work right alongside us. Why now? Well, it was kind of the perfect storm of cheaper computing power and a market that was just tired of promises and started demanding things that actually work.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with that big AI reality check. Then we'll get into the hardware, the hits and the misses of the year. After that, we'll give tech a report card from our point of view as consumers. Then we'll take a little peek into 2026, and we'll wrap up by asking what all this actually means for you.
Okay, first up, let's really dig into how artificial intelligence grew up this past year. It was way less about these jaw-dropping flashy demos and a lot more about quiet, meaningful integration into the real world.
And the key concept that made it all happen? Something called AI agents. Now don't think of these as just another app you command. Think of them more like an autonomous teammate. These are programs that can actually understand a goal, look at the situation, and then take action all on their own to get the job done. It's a huge step up.
And this wasn't just some theory in a lab, right? These AI agents were really put to work. Microsoft started building them right into Windows to handle tasks for you. NASA was using them to help predict floods. And get this, in the world of medicine, new platforms started offering a scientist as a service, using AI agents to drastically, and I mean drastically, speed up the timeline for discovering new drugs.
Now, a shift like this has massive implications. For years, the big idea in tech was cloud first. Send all your data to some giant server farm somewhere else. But for AI to be really fast and responsive, it needs to do its thinking right there on your device. So this has kicked off a huge move to a hybrid model, where your phone or laptop does some of the heavy lifting and the cloud just pitches in when needed.
Of course, with all this excitement comes the big question. Are we in an AI bubble? Well, according to investors polled by GeekWire, the answer is, well, it's complicated. Yes, they definitely see some signs of excess, some crazy valuations out there. But unlike past bubbles, they also see real, tangible value being created. The consensus seems to be that while some parts of this might pop, the underlying technology is absolutely here to stay.
All right, so all this powerful AI needs a home, right? Which brings us to the actual hardware that defined 2025. Let's take a look at the gadgets that made the headlines. The good, the bad, and the ones that are shaping what's next. In what felt like a sea of phones that all looked the same, the iPhone 17 really managed to stand out. 9to5Mac even named it their product of the year, and not for one single flashy feature, but for a whole bunch of small, smart upgrades that just made it a total joy to use. Apple also had a big win with the AirPods Pro 3. The standout feature here was the addition of a heart rate sensor, which is blurring the lines even more between what an earbud is and what a dedicated health tracker is. And for all you smart home fans, your house got a little bit smarter this year. Thanks to a new universal standard called Matter, robot vacuums can finally talk to Apple's HomeKit. This just makes it way easier to automate your cleaning routine without a bunch of different apps. When it came to durability, Google, Samsung, and OnePlus really led the pack with phones that could take a beating. But not everyone was so lucky. One model in particular became pretty infamous for its fragile design, reminding all of us that even in 2025, a single drop can still be a truly heart-stopping moment. So with all these new tools and all these new gadgets, here's the real question. Did technology actually make life any better this year? Let's give the whole consumer experience a grade.
And let's just start with a major pain point. This headline from Ars Technica, it just perfectly captured a frustration so many people felt. The move to eSIM was supposed to be a huge convenience, right? But for anyone who travels or switches phones often, it turned into an absolute nightmare of confusing carrier websites and losing that simple, physical control we used to have.
And this table really just sums up the duality of tech in 2025, doesn't it? On one hand, we had some clear wins, amazing health tracking right in our ears, smarter vacuums, way faster charging, and AI that was genuinely useful.
But on the other hand, we dealt with some major headaches. That whole eSIM mess, looming RAM shortages threatening our future devices, huge security breaches, and of course, those super frustrating cloud outages.
All right, enough about the past. Let's pivot and look at what's on the horizon. Here's a little peek into the trends and events that are all set to shape 2026.
So the year is going to kick off with the annual Consumer Electronics Show, CES, in January. Then in the second quarter, space is going to take the spotlight with a renewed focus on moon missions. By the second half of the year, you can expect rumors about next-gen consoles like the PlayStation 6 to really heat up, though reports are suggesting those memory shortages we talked about could actually push its release back.
And speaking of CES, one of the biggest trends, and I mean that literally, is going to be screen size. The data shows this massive push towards 85-inch TVs and even larger, making them the new mainstream big screen. Seriously, forget 65 inches, 85 is the new standard. Start clearing some wall space.
We're also expecting to see a new generation of much faster laptops, but they might come with less standard RAM, which is a trade-off. We'll see a wider rollout of the next-gen CarPlay Ultra, and Apple is teasing some kind of big announcement for its Fitness Plus service. And definitely look for that on-device AI to get even more powerful in phones like the upcoming Galaxy S26, right alongside a new generation of TVs with more vibrant, accurate colors.
So here's the most crucial point. How does all of this actually affect you? Let's try and connect these big trends directly to your daily life.
I mean, think about this. With real-time translation features getting better and better in devices we already own, like AirPods, are you still going to need a separate translation device when you travel? Or will your everyday earbuds just be good enough?
And what about your health? As AI gets smarter, it's really poised to become a true fitness partner. We're talking about everything from generating personalized meal plans to actually helping build your confidence at the gym with workout routines that are tailored just for you.
Which brings us to the ultimate question. As we look back at the highs and lows of 2025 and we look ahead to all the promises of 2026, you just have to wonder, is all this innovation actually making our lives better, or are we just trading one set of problems for a new, more complicated set? That's the question we'll leave you with. Thanks for joining us.